In this video, I'm going to show you how to mount a standard tire onto a tubeless rim using Stan's fluid. Okay, your first step is to put one bead onto the rim. The bead is this edge around the tire. So all you need to do at first is to put one side on. Pay close attention to the direction of the tire. There's most likely going to be an arrow pointing which way the tire is designed to rotate, and make sure that on your rim you put it going that direction. You can use, if it's a front wheel, the rotor location, or the rear wheel, either the rotor location or the cassette. Okay, so I'm just going to lay the rim onto the bead and then start working it onto the rim. And then when you get to the last part, it's probably going to be very tight, and some tires are tighter than others, and we'll have to get it on with the tire lever. Alright, down to the final part, and this one is super tight. I've had some that were, you could get them on with your hand, and then you get some like this that are just really, really tight, and you have to use a tire lever. Now it does help to make sure the bead is down inside the middle channel of the rim. That gives you the most space to work with. And so I'm just going to work this on, and sometimes that last little part you can get on your hand, but not that one. So I've got the first bead on the rim. Now I'm going to add the fluid. So take the Stan's fluid, put the top on, shake it up really good. And then, since this is a brand new tire, I'm going to add a little over a scoop and a half. Okay, so I've got my fluid in. Now I'm going to work the second bead onto the rim. Now what you've got to do is make sure that fluid doesn't spill out. So you put the top part on and then rotate the tire so that the fluid stays in, and then you've got the tire on at the bottom so the fluid will not come out. And then just work that last section on, that last bead onto the rim. And again, for this one I'm going to have to use a tire lever. And get that last part on there. Now I've got both beads on the rim with the fluid inside. Now we've got to put some soap bubbles to lubricate between the bead and the rim. The reason that you do this is to give, like I said, some lubrication to allow the bead to slip up into the channel of the rim, especially when it's this tight. Also, if it's loose, it gives something to fill that space so the air can go inside the tire easier. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of dishwashing liquid and just put maybe half a teaspoon in a bucket, and then you're going to spray some water. And what you're going to do is you're going to make the bubbles foam up. Okay, when we do this, we are not going to use water, it's only the bubbles. So make sure that they foam up real good. Okay, now take a brush and just get the bubbles. Make sure you don't get the water, okay? It's just the bubbles. And we're just going to go around and put some bubbles between the rim and the bead, and do that for both sides. So when you're done putting the soap bubbles on, this is about what it should look like. Okay, now you want to hang the tire on something. I'm going to use a hammer that's clamped into a bench vise. This is what I typically use. And put the valve stem at about the 8 o'clock position. Now I'm going to use an air compressor, so I'm going to put this little adapter on so that I can use kind of just a standard air chuck to fill this up. Anytime you work with high pressure air, I recommend putting on safety glasses. So I'm going to put these on. And again, I'm using an air compressor. I've been working with tubeless tires for a long time, and I've had almost no luck using a floor pump. I've used a CO2 or an air compressor, something that'll blast the air inside the tire. So I'm just going to hold this on, and it helps to hit the back of the tire, and that forces the air to go in. You also need to make sure that the bead is around the valve stem so that air is not coming out of the valve stem. So this one's kind of coming out a little bit, so I'm just going to make sure it's on there and then go for it with the air compressor. Okay, you heard that very loud pop above the sound of my air compressor. And if your rim has a channel like these Stan's rims have, the tire is going to make a very loud noise when it pops into that channel. Be aware of that because it'll scare you if you're not ready for it. I'm done with putting the air in. Now I'm just going to rinse off the tire. After you get air in the tires, you're going to want to spin the tire. Now I've got this on the bike, but usually I just hold it in my hand. And sometimes you'll see a wobble in the tire at one spot. And what that means is that one part of the bead did not get up on the rim. And what you have to do is, one, make sure you did put the soap bubbles in there. And if you lubricated it properly with the soap bubbles, then you have to put some more pressure in the tire. Now you only want to put enough pressure in the tire to get it up on that channel in the rim. You really, ideally, only want to put as much pressure as you typically run because you don't want to overstretch the tire. But sometimes you have to add more, sometimes even up to 50 or 60 pounds to get that bead, if it's real tight, to pop onto the rim. So just make sure you spin the tire and that there is no wobble in the tire. This one is straight, so the beads did get in that channel. Okay, I've got the tire rinsed off. Now I'm just going to go around and I'm going to shake the tire like this to get the sealant covering any pores that may be in the tire. So go around, shake it, spin it just a little bit, wait about 5 or 10 seconds, let the sealant settle to the bottom, shake it again, and then just go all the way around and keep shaking the tire. And then the last step is to really get the sidewalls sealed, and that is done by just putting the wheel on something like a trash can that allows the hub to just sit down inside, and then just let it sit like this for about 10 to 15 minutes on each side. And that's it. Thanks for watching.